Welcome back to Grit and Gut Podcast, where toughness talks. The grit, the grind, the guts, and the greatness, all things wrestling. I'm your co-host, Coach Craig Van Dyke.
And I'm Mike Harbson, and today we're talking about three fascinating middleweights. We got PJ Duke at 70, David Carr at 74, and Levi Haines at 79 kilos. Let's get into it.
Hey, Mike, before we get going, I got to jump back to the RAF event. Can we please get Bo Nickel and Jason Nolf to return to wrestling full-time? I know Nolf had a tough match. He didn't win that. But, man, these guys still got it. We love seeing them wrestle. They're exciting, dynamic guys, right?
They kill it, yeah, for sure. Definitely wouldn't mind them coming back. But we also have some good guys coming up, so it'll be interesting.
Speaking of those, that's right. Speaking of those young up-and-comers, PJ Duke's still in high school. He's on the senior world team for us as the representative at 70 kilos. At 70, I tell you what, we've had some stars, most notably James Green, who held that weight class down almost from the beginning of it. That became a weight class in 2014. Nick Marable was the guy that year. For those of you youngsters out there who don't know who Nick Marable is, he gave Jordan Burroughs his first U.S. loss in freestyle, his first domestic loss. So Nick Marable is no slouch, but James Green dominated that weight from 2015 to 2019, and in 21, he won medals in 2015, 2017. And then, after his reign, Zane Rutherford came in, and he was a silver medalist and a gold medalist for us in 23. So, PJ Duke has his work cut out for him to fill those big shoes from those guys. But how did he get here, Mike? How did he get to the starting spot at 70 kilos?
Well, I think we all, we definitely remember that Final X, with him and Yanni, right? And he earned it, man, showing his maturity beyond his years and keeping his composure against Yanni. Even after match one, he got dominated 10-0. And, you could tell by everybody, including, Burroughs on the announcing of it, they were like, oh, the young guys still got some stuff to learn, and little did we all know that, he's very coachable. He's able to adapt and change in between matches, which was amazing, right? And he was able to come out, obviously, making the necessary changes for matches 2 and 3. And, match 2 didn't look like it was going to go any better for him. Yanni's up 4-0 in the first minute. Then, Duke wins that challenge, so it becomes 3-2. And then Yanni goes up 9-2, and then the chest wrap, to make for 4 to make it 10-8, and then the shot to come up into the body lock for 4, and then 2 more, and then 2 more for that for a 17-10 win. Yeah. Wow. This guy is just gritty. He's tough. He's strong as an ox for being. He just turned 19. I think a couple months ago. But yeah, and then. We all know match 3, he caught him in that pretty much like a cow catcher, and threw it over and got the pin, So his confidence is really striking. He's not surviving in these matches. He's dictating the pace. He's not scared to hit some big moves. And, against a seasoned competitor like Yanni, his style, he's lightning quick. He's fearless. He doesn't get shaken up too much under the pressure. Right. Plus, he's got that really sweet left-handed outside single he hits that's just money. So he's real gritty, man. He's real tough, and he's not going to quit, and he's going to go big on you. So I think he proved himself pretty well here to make the world team.
Yeah, so he's going to be coming in unseated into that weight. Of course, he's got the Japanese wrestler Aoyagi, who is just fantastic. He's going to be your 1 seed. And if we go down the line here at the 6th seed, hey, there's another U.S. citizen wrestling for another country, Austin Gomez. And let me tell you something, Austin Gomez looked great at the RAF event. He has a win over Musakayev this year. And I've always loved watching Austin Gomez wrestle. He's dynamic. He's not afraid to go big. Where PJ Duke will land in the bracket, we don't know. He could come out with, wrestling the Japanese guy first. He could come out against Gomez, who's the 6th seed. Musakayev, is still in there as the 8 seed. You know, you got a world champion
Yeah.
as the 8 seed. This
Wow.
bracket's going to be insane. PJ Duke definitely has his work cut out for him, but you know, I think that youth can be to his advantage. You know, they may not know him that well, and you know what? He may just not be seasoned enough to be afraid of any of this. So he's going to go in there fearless and ready to go.
That's very true. And I think the one thing we saw with Yanni, I think in his Yanni match, it took him a little bit to figure out that level, you know.
Yeah.
And it took him it took him deep into that second match, really honestly, to figure it out, right? So I think if they can make the necessary changes each match, and I mean he's got his coach KD is phenomenal, right? So, and I think Zane also is in his corner, so he's got great people around him, right? So
Nice.
if he can make the changes immediately, like on the fly in the match, which he seems coachable enough to do that, and I think he's really mature in that regard for his wrestling. So I think if he can make those changes in between periods or even during the match, I think he's got a good shot, you know, of at least disrupting the bracket a little bit and putting people on notice. I don't know necessarily we're going to see a medal out of him, but you know, I think he could. I think he could make a good showing, a good representation.
Well, no one really gave him a shot to as making the team, even when he made the finals. So hey, keep surprising us, PJ. We love it.
Exactly. I'll embrace it.
Heck yeah. All right, moving up to 74 kilos. Hey, a weight class that has just been iconic for the U.S. wrestlers in the past. Now we have David Carr. He's got big shoes to fill. Obviously, Jordan Burroughs, the legend, dominated that weight for about a decade, and then Kyle Dake came over and took over that spot. I mean, medal after medal, championship after championship in this weight. We have a really good history in the U.S. at 74. You know, Kyle Dake went bronze in the Olympics, champ, silver at the Worlds, then bronze in the Olympics again. He's now back up to 86, so he's not in this weight. He didn't vie for a spot there. And if you guys remember, it's not unprecedented for Kyle Dake to be up at 86. In 2015 and 16, he wrestled up at 86. And for those of you who don't remember, I would say go look it up. He took a match from Jaden Cox, who we know is one of the all-time greats, and much bigger. Much bigger than Kyle Dake. But anyway, Kyle Dake's gone. David Carr's the man now. And I'll tell you what, of all of our new guys to the senior level world team, I do believe that David Carr has what it takes to be on the podium here at the World Championships.
Most definitely. I mean, especially when you look at how he looked at Final legs, right? He's smooth, he's patient, he's so patient, right? And he looks real calm, you know, and he's precise. He doesn't rush anything. He doesn't ever panic, you know. But you can't confuse that with him being soft, you know, because when he goes hard, you know, and he keeps his composure the whole time. He can wrestle a tactical chess match, or he can dig deep in the late period, and he was able to take it from Mesenbrink, who was pretty solid and a former senior world team member. Yeah. And Carr also took silver in Zagreb Open this year and defeated the Olympic silver medalist Takatani. So, you know, he's proved himself, right? And I think it was maybe 10-6 or I forget what that match score was, but 10-7, yeah. So he did pretty good though, you know. So I think I'm with you. I think he could definitely medal. He's on an uphill tick right now.
For sure. Well, he comes from a great wrestling pedigree, as we know, the Carr family.
Sure.
His father especially, what an amazing wrestler. And David, you know, so he's grown up around it. So I think some of that calmness, we see that composure just comes from his pedigree and just being around high-level wrestlers his entire life. So we'll see how that transitions. Now, he's going to come in unseeded too. And I'll tell you what, 74 worldwide, I mean, we might as well call this Russian nationals because there are so many guys who are from Russia that are wrestling. That's right, wrestling for other countries now. Your top 2 seeds are Russian guys who are now wrestling for Albania and Slovakia. And guess what? A guy who has wins over Kyle Dake and Jordan Burroughs is unseeded. Sidakov. He's going to go in under the independent neutral athlete. Not only that, there's the Bulgarian guy has Russian roots. I haven't gone down the whole list, but we're talking about at least 4 high-level Russian guys in this weight. Two of them grabbed the top two seeds. Two of them are unseeded, and one of those guys' name is Sidikoff. So what are we thinking? Where do we see Mr. David Carr finishing up here?
Well, first and foremost, that's the persistence of wrestlers. These Russian guys found a way to get on the team, found a way to compete finally, right? So us wrestlers, man, we're hard-headed. We don't take no very well, right?
That's true.
But, I do see, I think Carr is going to be able to pull it off, and I think he's going to be able to be on the podium. Where he's going to end up on the podium, I think greatly is determined by where he ends up on the draws in the bracket.
Absolutely.
But it wouldn't surprise me to see him, take silver. It wouldn't surprise me to see him with a bronze, and maybe even potentially pull off a gold,
And so there's a little bit of unknown on my end anyway with the Japanese wrestler that's in that weight. The aforementioned win he had, Japan is sending a different representative. Instead of Takatani, it's Takahashi. So a little bit of an unknown for me. Obviously, Japan has some depth there, even though they're a smaller country than us. Sure. They have great depth. And who knows? Will one side of the bracket be stacked and have all these Russians on one side of it and David Carr on the other? Boy, I'd love to see that.
That would be precious, right?
we got to wrestle who's there. I see him getting in that bronze medal match, though, and we'll see what he can do. But exciting to see him. He has been on the world stage before. I mean, he was a U20 world champion, so he has some experience here. So even though he's coming in as a rookie on the senior level, he's been there and he's won at a high level.
Well, he's got a couple national championships under his belt, and a couple, and I think that's a big enough pressure spotlight, because I think he made the finals 4 times, right? 4 times and won it twice and second twice in NCAAs.
I think that's right.
So I think he's well seasoned on that aspect of pressure, big events kind of thing. So he should do pretty solid.
Absolutely. All right, moving up to 79 kilos, we have Levi Haines representing Team USA this time. Again, that's a weight class we've been really dominant at for the U.S. Between Kyle Dake and Jordan Burroughs.
Spoiled.
Dake. We have been very spoiled. Oh, those years with Burroughs-Dake and and Taylor, all kind of in the same weight. And for a few years there, we're going, man, we got to get these guys in different weights. Well, they did it, and I remember 2018 World Championships. It was just boom, boom, boom. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Burroughs, Dake, Taylor, Snyder. I mean, wow, Murderers Row right there. We're winning medals up there. Yep. And they, they led us to team titles because of that Murderers Row that we had. So when Dake came down to 74, Burroughs went up. So, Levi Haines, obviously high-level guy, but can he fill the shoes of Mr. Jordan Burroughs and Kyle Dake? What do we think?
It's hard for us as monstrous wrestling fans, right? And Burroughs and Dake, and can he fill the shoes? Your initial heart wants to be like, nope, that's impossible, But at the same time, I mean, he's very good. He's solid, right? He's so technical and he's so tough to score on. And, he dominated a very, very solid Evan Wick in Final X, right? He swept him 10-0 in the first one and 6-1. In the second match, so he's hard to score on. He's always in good position. He's never really rattled, he's always there. It's always going to be it's most of the time it's going to be a pretty close match, with him. He's going to keep the score low unless he's scoring, if he's scoring, he's going to score some points. So I think once more into the semifinals and maybe even the finals match, or those are going to be pretty close matches, but I think he's going to be able to pull off the points in the end.
Yeah, well, he's here's another bracket where the top seed, his country says Slovakia, but he's another Russian wrestler.
Slovakia's thrilled right now.
I know. Yeah. Slovakia's team's looking really good this year.
They brought the heat.
They did. And then you also have the 4 seed who's wrestling for Tajikistan, is also a Russian wrestler. I don't know how many others are in there. The Georgian's really tough. I will tell you, this is one of the weights that I think it's going to be pretty darn tough for us to medal at. What do you think, Mike?
I think the biggest thing is just he's got to keep them not scoring, which is what he's really good at. So if he can keep them not scoring, pushing the pace a little bit, and wait for his opportunities to score, I think he'll be able to disrupt the bracket a little bit. Maybe make it to that third place match. Maybe make a bronze run. It's going to be tough in those.
Again, comes down to where the draw is and where
Yeah.
those other studs are in the bracket, of course.
Yeah, and just him, staying solid on that defense. He's going to have to shut them down a lot, and then he's going to have to score when that opportunity arises. The opportunities are going to be minimal, so he's going to have to take advantage of that for sure.
Yep. And then we do have one other U.S. citizen wrestling in there for Puerto Rico. That's Mikey Labriola. So we'll also be rooting him on and, see how that happens. Now, one of the things that I think would be terrible, even though I want to see like an RBY Spencer Lee matchup, ultimately we want to see those later in the tournament, not right from the get-go. These two are both going to be unseeded. Levi Haines and Mikey Labriola are both going to be unseeded. We don't want to see them wrestling early, but we'll see where they both end up, and we'll be cheering both of them on.
For sure, most definitely. We'll definitely be cheering for both of them. Hopefully they meet late in the rounds, but with those draws, you just never know.
Yep. All right, so there you have it. The next three weights. You have PJ Duke, David Carr, Levi Haines. 3 different stories, but one mission: get medals for the U.S.
That's right. You got from a teenager chasing history to Carr in the Shark Tank to Haines carrying on the 79 legacy. That's the grit of Team USA. Next episode, we're going to be hitting up the upper weights, 86, 92, and 97.